Why is it so good on everything? What makes the fresh version better? What's the secret ingredient? It's crack. It turns out it's crack. It's just a little bit of crack. It's fine. Hello again. I'm Chef Benny, and welcome back to Reheated History, the show where we dig up the dishes history left in the fridge a little too long. As a history teacher, I'm always looking for new and delicious ways to connect with the past. What did the common medieval peasant eat? What fueled the Roman gladiator? Did colonial Americans have a favorite comfort food? The answers aren't in textbooks, they're in the kitchens, farms, and fire pits of history. So, each week we'll cook our way through time, one humble, hopefully hilarious, and surprisingly tasty dish at a time. Because the best way to understand history is with our stomachs. This is Reheated History. Getting a bit topical this week, the U.S. World Cup is here in the United States, and the most remarkable thing is that people are discovering ranch dressing. It's turned into such a frenzy that the TSA is guiding people to make sure it's in your checked luggage and not the carry-ons, since the biggest liquid you can have in your carry-on is only 3.4 ounces, and ranch don't come in those sizes, y'all. At this point, TSA should just install a ranch amnesty bin next to the one for pocket knives. One European said that ranch dressing needs to be a human right. And a Swedish woman said, "Why did no one tell me ranch sauce is like crack? Europe, we need ranch ASAP." Ranch is one of the most versatile sauces. It goes with chips, veggies, pizza, chicken wings, sandwiches. We even dusted Doritos with it. But I think everyone can universally agree it tastes so much better in the restaurant than on the shelf. But why? Why is it so good on everything? What makes the fresh version better? What's the secret ingredient? It's crack. It turns out it's crack. It's just a little bit of crack. It's fine. Okay, it's not crack, but the real secret ingredient does have a story. So let's dive in. If you were to guess which state ranch dressing came from, what would you guess? If you guessed Alaska, give yourself a high five. That's right, Alaska, known for its ranches. But I'm being facetious. Here's the whole story. In 1949, a Nebraska plumber named Steve Henson moved to Alaska to work as a contract plumber with his wife Gail along for the ride. Out in the remote bush camps. Wait, we could have called this bush dressing? Anyway, Henson didn't just fix pipes. Part of his contract was also cooking for the crew, and as he put it himself decades later, it's tough to feed men in those bush jobs. If they don't like something, they're as likely to throw it at the cook as they are to walk out cursing. I had to come up with something to keep them happy. So Henson improvised a dressing from whatever was on hand. Mayonnaise, buttermilk, and a fistful of herbs and spices. The crew didn't just eat their vegetables, they gave it the classic chef's kiss. And after 3 years of frozen pipes and very happy plumbers, Henson saved up enough money to retire at 35. 35? I picked the wrong career. So he and Gail moved to California in the mid-1950s and bought a 120-acre property called Sweetwater Ranch. They renamed it, you guessed correctly, Hidden Valley Ranch, and opened it as a dude ranch tourism spot. You could get the whole ranch lifestyle there. Horseback riding, mountain views, livestock, the works. Guests came for the horses. They left obsessed with the salad dressing. It got so popular that Henson started mailing dry seasoning packets to anyone who asked at 75 cents a pop. It was called ranch dressing after Hidden Valley Ranch, which makes sense if you were there. By 1972, the operation had grown so large that Clorox, you heard me, the bleach company, bought the brand outright for $8 million. That's around $60 million in today's money. So just imagine that somewhere in a Clorox boardroom, someone said, "We clean things, but we should also feed people." But as ranch conquered North America, food brands ran into a problem trying to export it. The word ranch doesn't mean anything outside the United States and Canada. To most of the world, a ranch is a setting in a Western movie, not a flavor. So when Cool Ranch Doritos went global in 1986, marketers had to rename the entire concept. Walk into a grocery store in Germany and you won't find Cool Ranch, you'll find Cool American. In the UK, it's called Cool Original. And at kebab shops and pizza counters across Europe, that pale herby drizzle that isn't labeled ranch at all, the bottle just says American sauce. To the rest of the planet, this exact blend of herbs and dairy fat isn't a regional condiment, it's the literal taste of the United States. I wonder what the French think about French dressing. Now, to understand why ranch is so addictive, we're going to skip to the end and I'll reveal the secret ingredient in Henson's original blend. It wasn't crack, but to many who bought into the media stories, it was almost as bad. Monosodium glutamate, or MSG, and its history is a lot uglier than the salad topping has any right to be. In 1968, the New England Journal of Medicine published a letter from a doctor speculating that numbness and heart palpitations after eating at Chinese restaurants might be linked to MSG. Unfortunately, as they tend to do, the media ran with it and overhyped the report. They coined the term Chinese restaurant syndrome. Attendance plummeted, and restaurants across the country started hanging no MSG signs to calm panicked customers. Here's the hypocrisy. While Americans were convinced that General Tso would make them sick, they were shoveling down enormous concentrated doses of MSG in Doritos, Campbell's soup, fried chicken, and yeah, their beloved ranch dressing. Nobody ever once complained about ranch dressing syndrome. MSG is just the sodium salt of glutamate. It's an amino acid that occurs naturally in Parmesan, tomatoes, and mushrooms. And decades of follow-up research have found no consistent evidence that it causes the reactions people blamed it for. Its decades of vilification tracked a lot more closely with who was doing the cooking than what was actually in the bowl. This all came up on top of more than a century of racist rumors about the Chinese community and what they put in their food. Don't believe me? You ever heard a joke about eating stray cats? What's funny about MSG is that the black cloud around it still kind of remains. Here's the MSG I found at the grocery store. It's called Accent Flavor Enhancer. Now, are they trying to hide from their controversial past? Probably not. It's probably just that the name monosodium glutamate doesn't seem like a very attractive brand. Somewhere a marketing team spent 6 figures to rename crack. I mean MSG. I meant MSG. So, is MSG good for you? Hell no. But neither is a high salt diet. A little bit every now and then is fine, and as someone from the generation who grew up without MSG in any recipes at all, I have learned it can be an absolute game changer. So let's build ranch the way Steve Henson actually made it before it ever saw the inside of a shelf-stable plastic bottle. This is the classic dairy trifecta base. For the homemade ranch, you're going to need 1 cup of good mayonnaise. Pick out the best brand you possibly can. 1 cup of sour cream, 1 cup of buttermilk, 4 tablespoons of finely minced fresh parsley, 2 tablespoons of chopped chives, 1 teaspoon of fresh dill, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, and 1 teaspoon of onion powder. You're going to do about a teaspoon of kosher salt and a 1/4 teaspoon of cracked black pepper. You're also going to throw in 1 teaspoon of fresh lemon juice. About a 1/4 of a lemon should be about the amount you need. And 2 very healthy pinches of real MSG. This is the not-so-secret weapon. Little disclaimer here, Steve's OG recipe did not include sour cream. Restaurants added that when they started serving it in restaurants. Because I love sour cream, we're going to go with that tiny modification. You're going to whisk the mayo, the sour cream, and the buttermilk together until completely smooth. Fold in your herbs, then the garlic powder, the onion, the salt, the pepper, the lemon juice, and that pinch of MSG. Now here comes the part that everyone skips, the cold cure. You're going to want to seal it in a jar and refrigerate it for a minimum of 30 minutes before you touch it. If you do it straight out of the bowl, this is just going to be herby sour cream. This is going to break down those oils and those herbs into the fat, and that's where the MSG unlocks the umami, and it becomes ranch. All right, so here we go. Here's our ranch dressing. I'm pretty excited about this. I'm actually going to give it 3 different tests. I'm going to do the potato chip, the carrot, and the final boss, pizza. By the way, Europeans, put it on your pizza. It's so good. Chip. Carrot. It's a... Yeah. That is really good ranch dressing. Yeah, I'm in trouble. That's really good. Now, some of you might be saying this is not very historic. It's 75 years. At what point does something become historic? That was really good. I rarely say this, but because as a red-blooded American, I feel totally qualified to tell you whether or not that was good or bad ranch, and that was very good ranch. Highly recommend making it, especially if you're going to a party. Yeah, that's a 10 out of 10. But as always, the real judges are my family, and this time, win or lose, we're going to go ahead and order pizza because I've got the perfect dressing for it. I'll let you know what they thought in the comments. By the way, too, this one came out a little runny, so if you wanted to, you want to make it like a thicker sort of dip, just skip the buttermilk, and that's basically the trick. So anyway, that's ranch dressing, and take it from a proud American, the bottled stuff is trash. If you have a friend that's in a country that's been waiting to try this out, send this recipe to them. It's easy to make, as you saw, and it can last in the fridge up to 2 weeks. Well, thanks for watching Reheated History. Stay curious, stay saucy, and remember that somewhere out there, there's a German dipping a Turkish kebab into American salad dressing. What a world! Let's see you next Sunday. Contract plumber with his wife Gail. But as someone from the generation who grew up without MSNBC, and as someone who comes from the generation who grew up without any MSNBC, God damn it, and as someone from the generation who grew up without any MSNBC,